Record! 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 Are you recording now?
Yes.
Okay, well, on with the actual podcast. Welcome to Brotherhood, a spoiler-filled podcast where we review each episode of the deliciously nightmare-inducing TV show, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. My name is Timothy MacArthur, the taller brother.
And my name is Dylan MacArthur, the older brother.
Today's episode, Separate Destinations.
There were 3 in this episode, but my favorite was the room with a moose.
Definitely the room with a moose. That was great.
So you remember how I keep making guesses that I think are pretty on point? Like I was pretty sure that Alicia was going to be the one who got axed.
I know what you're talking about.
Turns out, Alicia wasn't the one I needed to worry about. And I figured...
No, it was not.
I have a note from the end when his last words are, "And I said I'd be back home early," to which I wrote, Yeah, you did. And that's why you're dead.
You jerk.
So we begin this episode not with a death, but with many deaths, because this is a happy show. So
yes, we start this episode with a flashback to the War of Ishval.
And when we say start off, we mean like right off the bat. This show is having a little fun with the first few minutes of the show, because we don't have the theme song play until fairly far into this episode. We get a conversation between Colonel Hughes and Roy Mustang in which we discover where their relationship comes from, and also we're reminded of the fact that Roy Mustang wants to be the Fuhrer, and we get a little bit of an explanation, and it doesn't need to be that big of an explanation. We're just told this is basically why he wants to be the Fuhrer, is because the current Fuhrer is terrible. And I agree. I'm pretty sure that the Fuhrer is a bad guy. But, as a note that comes later on says, he is a wonderful bad guy who really needs more moments of character development, because when he gets them, they're great.
Yeah, he is a wonderful bad guy. I also hate him because he's a bad guy, but I love to hate him.
One little note, and I'm not sure that it's a complaint, but it was an observation, which is that we have shaky cam in this cold opener. Why?
Yeah, it was completely unnecessary.
It's just a shot of the insurgents, of people rushing past the camera, and every once in a while the camera would have a little bit of a shake. That can't be accidental, because nothing is accidental in animation.
Yeah, I know, but at least then it's forgivable, because they're explosions.
It is just a slightly strange thing, because cameras don't exist in animation, or at least they don't have to exist in animation. And that's one of the joys of animation as a medium, is that you're divorced from the camera to a certain degree. So it just felt strange to be reminded
it's weird and unnecessary, but not it isn't a sin in this sense.
It's not a sin, it's just a decision that doesn't seem to have any reason behind it, or at least none that I could discern.
Okay, anyways.
In a hospital, we see our holy
Heroes.
quadrilogy. And they're talking about Philosopher's Stone stuff.
And who should show his face? The Fuhrer!
Thank you, sir!
I understand you've been checking up on some of the senior staff. Is this true, Major Armstrong?
Yes, sir, but, how did you know I was...
You should know that nothing gets past me, Major. And now you, my revered Full Metal Alchemist, tell me what you know about the Philosopher's Stone. And I hope for your sake that you don't know too much.
I'm only kidding.
I was reminded of that scene from the Firebending Masters episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender, when the leader of the island says, "Now you must be destroyed." Ha, just kidding.
But seriously, don't tell anyone.
And he jumps out of the window because I guess that he had to run away from his guards in order to be
bodyguards.
there.
Where is he? Has Screamer Bradley been through here?
Gotta go. Damn bodyguard thinks he's my shadow.
Winry comes in and she's like, "Oh, what are you guys hanging out around the window for?" And they're like, "Oh, a storm just came by." To which I wrote, "And what a storm it was."
It was hilarious.
More, please. Next scene that I have a note about. We're on the train and they're having their little conversation about the teacher who's been mentioned twice now in this episode with great fear and anxiety on the part of the Elric brothers.
Yeah, because she is freaking BA.
Every time she comes up, they act as if they're walking towards their graves. There's a great line from Al when he says that he wants to have a girlfriend before he dies.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
To which I wrote, "Yes, I want Al to find a girlfriend too, though not as much as I want to meet this teacher."
It's hilarious.
I want to talk about this teacher a little bit because I get the impression that the two of them have done something that would upset her.
Yes.
But I'm not quite sure what. Probably they stole something, would be my guess. I don't know, maybe they crossed her name out in the yearbook and drew a beard on her face.
Stop now. I said stop guessing. That's all you're getting out of me. Stop guessing.
No more guesses.
You'll figure it out soon enough.
We see Colonel Hughes doing his Hughesian thing, and I guess he's doing his job, and he notices that something fishy has been going on. Something suspiciously like another theory that I had, which is that, first off, their universe looks like a circle, and there are all of these points appearing around the circle where people are killing each other and getting into battles and skirmishes. I mean, at this point, it is fairly obvious that a giant transmutation circle is being created. He makes this connection in his head.
Yeah, you can tell by his eyes widening like, oh my gosh.
He goes to the archive because, of course, he's not going to tell Roy Mustang his secret. He's got to go on some pointless detour that's going to get him killed. He already gave his final goodbyes. He told his family he was going to be home early. This guy ain't going home alive.
And then while he's figuring out more stuff,
Stretchy Claus appears, ready for battle.
And then the Stretchy Claus stretches one of her claws straight into Macy's shoulder, and Macy throws a knife at her face.
Which, she took a knife straight to the forehead.
Yeah, it
but
did.
she still seems okay. Interested to see what happens in the future with her, because that should have killed her if she was, I don't know, human. But something
No
else
comment.
going up. Something's going on here, but I don't know what.
No comment.
I don't know if this is going to be a permanent, if this is going to inflict some sort of significant amount of damage, or if she's just going to scrape it off as 'tis a mere flesh wound. I have a note here for the future episodes in this show, and it goes as follows. Please explain how she knew to attack Colonel Hughes in the archive, or I'm going to call shenanigans. There.
I can't explain.
I'm fine with not knowing right now. There's so much in this story that is about discovery. It's almost like a mystery more than it is an actual horror adventure. So, that being in mind, if something happens that is weird and strange, you better do a good job of explaining how it's not actually weird and strange.
Oh, don't worry, it's explained later on, but I'm not going to tell you how.
And in fact, they don't even have to tell me how next episode, but I do think that it would be important for them to establish sometime soon that this wasn't an accident, that this wasn't the storytellers just, I don't know, deciding that, well, we already had him say his final goodbyes. We got to kill him somehow. There has to be some forethought into this.
Good evening, Eastern Command.
I need you to connect me to Colonel Mustang right away.
I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to connect from an outside line.
You are speaking to Lieutenant Colonel Hughes, and this is a matter of life and death.
Can I have your code, please?
What? Are you trying to waste time? It's Uncle, Sugar, Oliver, then 800.
Your code was verified. Please hold while I connect you.
Will you hurry? It's an emergency!
So Colonel Hughes is axed in this scene.
Yep. With a gun, not an axe.
An axe gun by Axe Cop. Crossover time. In the very next scene, we see the Elric brothers, and they're having their ironic and kind of uncomfortable scene, honestly, because of where it's placed.
I had such a good time staying with them. They're both really great people.
Yeah, but Hughes is obnoxious. He doesn't know when to shut up, and he spoils his daughter rotten.
He did come by your hospital room a lot to talk to you.
Every damn day. He always made it a point to come and keep me company. And it didn't matter when. He'd even blow off work.
We should figure out some way to thank him next time we're there.
Yeah, we should.
Hearing them deride Colonel Hughes right after his death is, of course, dramatically poignant, but it's also just kind of uncomfortable because here's this guy who we've kind of come to love in his own weird way. And he's gone. Like, he is dead as a parrot gone. It felt irreverent in a way that was unbecoming.
Yeah, that wasn't a good idea.
We then cut to Mrs. Hughes at her husband's funeral and Alicia having her moment of being like,
why are they putting all that dirt on Daddy?
They're burying him, dear.
But if Daddy gets buried, then he won't be able to do all his work.
Alicia.
Daddy said he has a bunch of work he needs to do. No! Stop it! Stop putting dirt on him! Daddy!
and that particular choice of words crushed me, honestly, because what they make a point throughout this episode that he is a workaholic. He loves his family and he talks about them all the time, but he has put his job before them. And she knows this about his fundamental character. And so now that he's dead, she knows that he's not going to be able to do his job, you know, the thing that's most important to him.
But because she's so young, it hasn't hit home that he's dead.
Just because it's such a strange thing and it's not baked into our pre-built brains, the concept that, oh, by the way, people die. We just sort of assume that people live forever until one day we learn that they don't actually.
Which sounds like an evolutionary setback to some extent.
I was paying close attention to how Fuhrer Bradley was going to react. He seemed quite upset, which was interesting to me. I was like, okay, so we're gonna get more of this character. He's got layers. That's good to know. And then afterwards, we cut to just Riza and Roy standing over the headstone. I think it's been established that Roy doesn't do so hot with the expressing emotions thing. And this is, oh my gosh, that line when Roy says,
Yeah, I'm fine. Except, it's a terrible day for rain.
What do you mean? It's not raining.
Yes, it is.
Oh, so it is. Why don't we head back? It's getting chilly out here.
Oh, dang it. Darn my pacing. I did not see this part. Darn my ADHD.
and oh gosh, like what a perfect moment to say that she knows Roy incredibly well. She knows how he feels and how he expresses emotion, and she's not surprised at all when his sadness is expressed as, oh, it looks like it's raining. She gets it as soon as she sees the tears. She's like, oh, I know what's going on here. Let's get going. After they talk to Armstrong, they have their little interaction where Roy plays the part of Sherlock and...
So, I guess he wasn't as helpful to us as we had hoped.
But not a waste of our time. He was more helpful than he meant to be. He said that they had a strong lead, singular tense, on a few suspects, multiple suspects, which leads me to believe they suspect a group is responsible. And his obstinate refusal to talk, even though I ordered him to, can only mean there's gotta be an officer above me that's ordered him to keep quiet. Most likely someone of senior ranking. The last clue was that he happened to mention the Elric brothers. They were researching the Philosopher's Stone.
I hate to say it, but it sounds like there might be some kind of conspiracy going on here. But how does it all tie together?
That's the big question. But Hughes, I'd say he deserves an answer. Once I'm transferred to Central, I'm gonna start shaking things up until I find one.
Doesn't sound like you to mix your public and personal concerns.
There's no difference between the two. I will become the Führer of this country, and I will take vengeance for Hughes. I will do these things because I have to do them. I'm going after the senior staff. Are you with me, Lieutenant?
Do you even have to ask?
He's telling all of this to Riza in total confidence, and she's like, yeah, let's go.
And I'm like, wow, Riza. Okay.
I wrote this down in my notes by writing Riza plus Roy, and then just these little tiny hearts next to it, because I just love these characters so much. I love these characters.
You're so weird.
So great. I want more. I want more Fuhrer Bradley, and I want more Riza and Roy, because they're just amazing.
Okay. Are we done?
I don't know. Do you have any other things that you want to say about this episode?
I'd like to see what the summary for the next episode is going to be.
The next episode is the Holy Land of Automail, as Winry so eloquently puts it.
Oh, that episode. Oh, okay. This is going to be good. Oh, yeah, this is going to be really good. Okay.
Dylan's Theory Corner, I think we're going to get to see some more people from the land of Ishval. No comment on your part.
Thank you. I was about to say no comment, but you said it for me. Thank you. Okay. Goodbye, Dylan.
Goodbye, Timothy.